Team Fortress 2. Fun and well-designed gameplay with cartoony yet approachable art style and 9 highly different classes with abundance of great game mode, weapons, and interesting gameplay overall. No wonder this game has stood the test of time and still resides in the Steam's top 10 most played games list. Today, however, the game has been plagued by mass amounts of aimbots ruining any casual game you happen to join, and even more idle bots, netting over half of the player base, ruining the marketplace and item economy. The community has had enough, and it's high time this crap gets sorted out. Team Fortress 2. Even today, I recall the game rather fondly. On and off, me and my mates tend to play it when the urge to fuck about arises, and who can blame you? The good design, simple gameplay, mayhem, and timeless art style. There is a reason why this game has, in particular, not keeled over and died like most other team class-based shooters. Like, for example, Brink! That's a deep cut. On Steam, it's still hanging in there on the top 10 most played games, despite being over 15 years old. Although, if the information presented by my fellow creators STGesus is accurate, this might be highly artificially inflated.
In my previous video, I analyzed TF2's daily player counts and presented solid evidence that about 70% of TF2's player count, as reported by Steam, at minimum, are bots. But not cheater bots, like those you see in-game, but farms of bots idling for TF2's free item drops.
Today, a little campaign of #FixTF2 had launched by the community because the state of the game is utterly unacceptable. For the past minimum of 5 years, Valve has done less than minimum job maintaining it. As part of this campaign, people have been review bombing TF2 on Steam to get it under overwhelmingly negative. And all that just to get something going. But to adequately understand what the fuck is even going on, let's take a look at the failure of TF2. Like I mentioned before, TF2 was released in 2007. What a year that was. And when it comes to the new content and updates today, well, like New Yorkers would say, forget about it. Now, while it's not impossible to upkeep and update that old of a game, well, when you think of an older game than this, well, you'll probably shout out, oh, well, EVE is getting updates and new content, World of Warcraft is getting stuff, and of course RuneScape. But that's kind of the thing. All of them are MMORPGs. And that's kind of where the catch is. For the most other types of games, usual lifespan for them is about 5 to maybe 10 years where you get active updates and new content. And you know, that's fine. You see, TF2 could use new content, updates and fixes, maybe even engine overhaul, but those are not necessary. So then if you understand that this team-based shooter is in a maintenance phase hard, why would people still yell at Valve to fix the fucking game? Why is it relevant? It surely can't be just because we collectively decided to keep playing this game for this long in this great of a numbers now, is it? Well, actually, it's kind of part of it. Well, whatever the reason people choose to play the game, well, there are a lot of us still around. However, you, like me, understand that, well, you can't really expect the developer to stick around forever and pump out new crap, or hell, even maintain their official servers. At some point, the game has to be handed down to the community to handle. Or in case of live service games, fucked in the ass and killed. But that's a different story for a different day. For that, check out Ross Scott's fight against killing games. So, arguably, TF2 was the game that started loot boxes. Yes, Counter-Strike popularized them and Overwatch reached the pride and accomplishment and utterly blown their load all over the concept.
Surprise mechanics is actually quite ethical and quite fun, enjoyable to people.
But today, both TF2 and Counter-Strike still heavily rely on loot boxes and direct microtransactions to rake in the cash. Loot boxes especially, the utterly disgusting gambling mechanic that is shoved into everyone's face. They should be removed entirely. Fuck whoever thinks that these are acceptable as necessary evil. You people are the reason, most of all, why this shit, and I mean exploitation of customers, predatory mechanics and manipulative features, get added to nearly all modern games, doesn't matter if they're free to play or not. However, that being said, TF2 is free to play these days, and that's the only model where you could have these exploitative monetization practices. You paid no entry to play, well, the developer has the blank check to monetize the game however they see fit. That's the deal. But again, most premium games ignore that and fuck you anyways. But that's a different story. See, the cash flow from these gambling boxes and regular microtransactions are also the reason why people, as well as the developer Valve, are unwilling to let the game go. You know, the sunk cost. Now, if you paid, let's say, $20 for some cool skins and animations, well, you might be willing to part with them at some point, but what if it's $100 or more dollars? Getting unusuals and other bling, See, when your economy and markets are flooding with thousands of dollars per account sometimes, closing the servers or market itself becomes a near impossibility. On the bright side though, as a developer, the constant cash flow does mean that you can maintain the game, at the very least. And we'll get back to this in a little bit, but first, let's talk about the real reason TF2 is so fucked these days.
This one's ours now.
It started with simple things, a macro here and there, an auto backblasting script for pyro, an auto backstabbing for spy, lag-induced ping abusers. These were the earliest problem childs of TF2's script-kiddie dildo scene that bordered on cheating and hacking. It was, and to this day still is, highly annoying to play against these cunts. But even back in the day when these script kiddies emerged, it was clear, Valve's anti-cheat was a goddamn joke. But then came the bots. Scottos. Oh, the bots. Aimbot snipers automated to play the game by itself and basically ruining every single lobby multiple times a match. Without the rampancy of these bots, it became clear just how laughable TF2's anti-cheat was.
Say it with me, everyone. VAC is not an anti-cheat. It's a suggestion.
And Valve did nothing. For the past 5 years, the game has literally been plagued by these assholes to a point that simply some servers are unplayable. And sure, any popular product will have cheaters and hackers, it's just the reality of software development and online games. These days, cheats and hacks get easier and easier to deploy. Just look at Escape from Tarkov, or hell, a competently made modern game like Call of Duty's. So yeah, most of them have these dildos running around wall hacking and aimbotting. It's just that some companies are better doing the job of banning these accounts. The older the game, the older the system, the more explored and exploited loopholes and backdoors. And it's completely normal to see easily available and deployable cheats for older games. Unless of course the developer keeps up with the anti-cheat. Which leads us to the crux of the problem. Team Fortress 2 is genuinely a good game with all sorts of good designs, art style and more. This is also indicated by just the amount of active players daily for these 15 years. However,
as a very generous estimate, for the past 5 years, Team Fortress 2 has been overrun with aim hacking bots. These aimbots are controlled entirely by AI with perfect accuracy, and they've been making the game harder and harder to play as time goes on. In 2022, a public campaign called Save TF2 launched in May with the goal of notifying the public of what's been happening to TF2. Less than 24 hours into the campaign, Valve responded, claimed they were going to look into it, and left it at that. As far as the public knows, after that tweet was published, Valve acted on their word and the bots got the boot. However, this is not the case. Despite Valve's promise, the bot crisis has gotten just as bad as it was before Save TF2, and nothing is being done to fix it. Team Fortress 2 is being held hostage by a malicious group of bot hosters that dox, harass, and commit crimes against the people that oppose them. This group of bot hosters has created a culture of fear surrounding the aimbots. This is the hard truth. I have evidence, and I want this story to be heard.
I highly recommend checking WatchShow's video and the follow-up as well for the full picture. But to summarize, these trolls not only spam and ruin servers we play in, but also attempt to harass, dox, fake, and even attempt to swat their opposition, as in the case of Mega Scatter Bomb.
The point of no return was when I released a video titled "I'm Ending the Bot Crisis Part 1 of 3, detailing my plans to build a community-run anti-cheat for casual mode. The harassment that followed is unlike anything I've ever seen."
So, if one day suddenly you see, "Oh, Yabik said the bad no-no words and he abuses puppies or something," you'll probably know what's up, right? But even this is just a part of the problem. And though TF2 is using the most disgusting monetization method, loot boxes, it's still earning the company money. Yet despite the fact that the game is making money hand over fist for Valve, for the last years they've seemingly done absolutely nothing. And so the word responsibility fits here the most. The fact that TF2 is 15 years old does not matter, so long as Valve is going to sell these microtransactions, so long as they are continuing to profit and host their own official servers. The very least they could do is clamp down on utterly game-ruining cheaters. However, they refuse to. Now, the thing is, I fully expect this sort of a cheater-infested state for a dead game. You know, developers have long since moved on, no developer maintains servers or online features, and it's completely up to the community to keep it up, with a private server hosting and other things. In this case, for some reason Valve thought to shirk the responsibility for the product they're getting paid for. See, it's either get paid and maintain your shit, or close down shop and let the community take over. Well, Valve seems to not give a fuck, and so here we are today. Well, of course, to top this garbage cake of scumminess, well, my fellow creators STGs in recent follow-up provided information on how dire the TF2 and Steam botting situation really is. What he found was the other type of bots. The more sinister part of TF2 botting happens behind closed doors, the item collecting idle botters.
Alright, enough blueballing. Out of the 1,402 giftapults, you want to guess how many went to bots? I'll give you a second to think of a number, and I'll publish my data in a pinned comment down below so you can look for yourself. 996 went to bots, which is almost exactly 71% of my sample size. I now have two completely isolated methods that have come to the same conclusion. TF2's player count, as reported by Steam, is about 70% bots.
But hey, the idle botters don't harm the gameplay unlike the spinbot dildos. Why worry about them? Well, guess what the random item drops can be used for? Trading! And of course, with enough steps, cashing out money. See, back in the day I used to do a little bit of trading, and I soon quickly saw the scrap trading bots appear everywhere. While I didn't think too much about them, aside from the fact that they took my business away, the reality is far more fucked than it sounds. I mean, did you ever wonder why the price of the keys suddenly skyrocketed? See, these idle botters not only ruin the game economy, which frankly being based on loot boxes can fuck off anyways, are abusing not only the system but enable some truly heinous shit. Account phishing, selling, trading scams, good old in-game gold sellers, and far more are enabled thanks to existing monetization of the game. And yes, this also includes the Aimbotters. This monetary incentive, mostly for Russians according to Zesty's findings.
Doing a quick search online, and lo and behold, Russia.
No, bля, ёбаный пидорасы, bля. Because of fucking course the Ruskies are ruining shit again. They have a reason and an incentive to create these bot networks, scam, cheat and exploit others. In process of which, ruining the game as we could see both on the market as well as with the plague of spin bots infesting literally every server constantly. And that's the problem. Now to solve it, well, there are a few ways, but the two most glaring ones that I presented and highlighted today were, Valve, get the fuck off your ass and do something! Either close down the market, which would make nearly all the bots meaningless, and you could wash your hands of TF2 fully finally. But let's be frank, you made too much money, and people have invested too much money in their accounts already, so that's basically a complete no-go. Or if you still want to profiteer from manipulative gambling boxes, microtransactions and market tax so fucking much, take the responsibility and clamp down on these ne'er-do-wells for which you're being paid for in the first place. Valve, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Do not your legacy be one of utter apathy, neglect and exploitation, damn it. As for you, my fellow customers and players, review bomb the game, do not buy the microtransactions, period, and go sign the save.tf page. Valve's complacency and borderline criminal neglect has to stop. Team Fortress 2 is a fantastic game, and it's being killed by these bots, and not just the ones you constantly see playing Sniper. See, the game has stood the test of time, and that deadlock game that Valve is making right now can wait. Do not let TF2 die! So, fix TF2.